Talk about a crusher. Yes! Oh!
Are you kidding me?
And gone!
Welcome back to the Schoolyard Sports podcast. I'm the host of this podcast, Lane Frank. We're now on episode 229. It's for 229 episodes through, and I got an action-packed episode planned for you. The NFL is back. We're heading into week 2 of the college football season. It's September time for baseball, which means October is knocking on the doorstep. And we're wrapping up the U.S. Open this week, heading into the quarterfinals of all the draws. So get ready to hear football, tennis, baseball, and more on episode 229. Let's hop into it. Let's start off episode 229, how we always do, with our headlines in the NBA. You know, not much in the NBA, but Jeremy Lin, a fan favorite for my New York Knicks, retired this week from basketball. So congratulations to Jeremy Lin, a trendsetter off the court and on the court. We'll never forget. Lin Sanity. Wow, that was incredible. Jeremy Lin, a guy I would love to have on this podcast one day to talk about that Lin Sanity run. But yes, Jeremy Lin has retired, and that's about for the news in the NBA. In the NFL, okay, you're going to be hearing a lot about NFL in the headlines for the next 19, 20, 25 weeks, everybody, because the season is officially here. We're going to recap all the games always. But for right now, Micah Parsons has been traded to the Green Bay Packers. Huge deal. Jerry Jones wasn't bluffing. He wanted to trade Micah. Now, he might have said, okay, we'll see where things go. Now, he was dead set on trading Micah. Whatever he was going to do was to get Micah out of Dallas. And I think he's even playing the troll at this point, Jerry Jones, giving DeRon Bland a huge deal. Now, DeRon Bland isn't bad. I think he tore his ACL last season, and he was great in 2023. But for DeRon Bland to get a huge contract and to say, Micah, you can just leave, that was a personal thing. Jerry wanted to get rid of Micah. Micah wanted to get out of there. Huge for both sides. 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark. That's as good of a return you can get if you're Dallas. Micah Parsons heading over to Green Bay. A huge trade in the NFL that happened on Thursday. Najee Harris is still questionable to come back to the Chargers. They expect him to come back soon, but 4th of July accident, a few other factors. I don't know if Najee is really the running back for Jim Harbaugh and his Chargers. Backstory right here. Najee Harris went to Alabama, had a great career. Before he went to Alabama, he was down between Michigan and Alabama as his 2 top schools. He chose Alabama. I think Jim Harbaugh always wanted to coach Najee Harris, took a flyer on him this offseason after his interesting stint in Pittsburgh. Now it doesn't even seem like he'll get a stint in Los Angeles. Tyreek Hill, not named captain for the Miami Dolphins. Now, he's been a captain in the past for them, but we know the turmoil that's gone on with him, the rift between he and Mike McDaniel, the rift between he and Chris Greer, the GM. I think there's some turmoil with Tyreek Hill. I think this is his last season, maybe the last 8 games with the Miami Dolphins. But Tyreek, not a captain for the 2025-2026 NFL season. In the MLB, not too much in the MLB right now, but Trevor Story hit a 306-foot home run the other day, the shortest in the MLB history. It wasn't even a home run in any ballpark. The only reason it was a home run was because the Guardians right fielder caught the ball, and the ball slipped out of his glove and hit the foul pole, which resulted in a home run. Trevor Story, 306-foot home run the other day. Incredible. Go look it up. What an amazing feat that is by Trevor Story to have. The shortest home run in MLB history. Now, for my New York Mets, on a little bit of a fire run right now. Swept the Phillies with new pitchers Jonah Tulling and Nolan McLean stealing the show. Beat the Tigers the other day. And Juan Soto catching his stride as we enter September. He's on fire, having a great season despite what the beginning of it was. Juan Soto playing well. Trevor Story, 306-foot home run. We got a lot to come on episode 229. That's about for the headlines. It's here! Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day. We have made it. We've made it from February all the way to September, and the NFL is back. So is Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day. This segment is near and dear to my heart. I've done this segment since I was 12 years old. We've done this since episode 2 of this podcast, and we're doing it on episode 229. Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day, where we go through not just all the games in the NFL, but the best games in the NFL of the week. And we pick our winners, and we get a perfect score. So the first game of the year, the Cowboys, tradition here on Schoolyard Sports Game Day, going up against the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday Night Football. The Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, get a win right here over the Cowboys, and they move to 1-0 on the season. Go Birds! Second game in Palo Alto on Friday night, maybe Saturday morning there. I don't know, the time changes. Chiefs versus Chargers. Don't expect to see Taylor Swift out there in Brazil. I do expect to see Justin Herbert having a good game. Not good enough. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and Andy Reid roll over to 1-0 on the season. Buccaneers, Falcons, an NFC South battle. I kind of like the NFC South. It's interesting, you know. Buccaneers, Falcons, Saints, Panthers, a lot of teams of potential. I don't know if any of them can win the Super Bowl, but it's an interesting division, and this is a great game in Week 1. I think the Falcons actually get the win here. I like the Buccaneers. I really do. I like Bucky Irving. I like Baker. I like Mike Evans, but I just don't think they get it done right here. Liam Cohen loses Week 1. Bijan Robinson, big year ahead from him. Michael Penix Jr., an even bigger one for him. And Raheem Morris and the Falcons move to 1-0 with a win at home. Steelers versus the Jets. These teams swap quarterbacks. Justin Fields, starting quarterback for the Jets. Aaron Rodgers, starting quarterback for the Steelers. And Aaron Rodgers does the biggest "how you like me now" to the New York Jets and kills them on Sunday, 38-17. Let's go, Steelers. Fun fact, Justin Fields has never won a game where his opponent scored over 21 points. Giants versus Commanders. I'm a Giants fan. I like Russell Wilson, but I think the Commanders are a Super Bowl contender. Big year ahead for them. Jaden Daniels, go Commanders. Panthers versus Jaguars. Another one of those NFC South and AFC South teams. Kind of similar with the AFC South. A few good teams in there. Texans, Jaguars, Colts, and then, Titans recovering from getting the number 1 pick last year. All teams that can make the playoffs, no teams that can make the Super Bowl. I actually like Bryce Young going into year 3. Year 2 was a really up and down year for him, but I think he has so much momentum going into year 3 with the way he ended year 2. Bryce Young's story is a great story because, yes, he won the Heisman. Yes, he was the number 1 pick. Yes, he did get benched his second year in the NFL, but yes, he did come back and finish the season on a very high note. And Trevor Lawrence, time to figure some things out, buddy. When you lose this game and you start 0-1. Panthers over the Jaguars, big year ahead for both teams and both quarterbacks. Lions versus the Packers. I think the Lions take a big step back this year, so I'm going to go with the Packers in this game. Don't know if Micah Parsons will play, but I do like the tandem of Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs in that backfield. Now, Texans versus Rams. Matthew Stafford will play in this one. CJ Stroud, I think he'll have another down year. They don't have many weapons for him outside of Nico Collins. Let's go with the Rams over the Texans. Ravens versus the Bills. Every year I love the Ravens, and every year they break my heart. Is this the year I picked the Ravens to win the whole thing? You're going to have to wait and see. But I think both these teams got better over the offseason. The Bills, they didn't get good enough yet. Ravens over the Bills. Vikings versus the Bears to round out our week. It's going to be a great game. It's going to go back and forth action a little bit. But I think the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy send Caleb Williams to 0-1 in his second season off a great debut by J.J. McCarthy, connecting with Justin Jefferson. I think it'll be hard for J.J. not to play well in this Kevin O'Connell offense with Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hawkinson as his top 2 targets. That's about it for Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day. Still more to come. Football, baseball, tennis, and more on Schoolyard Sports Lane Frank, episode 229. Now, take of the week. This week's take of the week is, I'm going to be ranting on Jeremiah Smith, who is overrated, in my opinion. Now, Jeremiah Smith, maybe as a player, isn't overrated, but at least by the media, is overhyped. This guy is 3 career games of over 100 yards. Only 3 career games over 100 yards. Now, to have 3 career games as a freshman with over 100 yards is very good. And Jeremiah Smith had a good season last year, don't get me wrong. But to put him on the cover of College Ball 26, to declare him as the Heisman this early, when he's in offense this season without a good quarterback, where he's in an Ohio State team that's rebuilding a little bit after winning a national championship. I know they're number 1 in the country, but they're not as good as they were last season. For people to say Jeremiah Smith is going to be this incredible player, what we saw from him on Saturday showed he clearly wasn't ready to be a number 1 overall pick. We all thought, well, if Jeremiah Smith could have declared last year, he would have gone number 1. And I'm going to point out a thing right here. Outside of the part of Jeremiah Smith being overrated in my eyes, watch me right here. Jeremiah Smith, Miami Hurricane, 2026. Just watch it. Watch it happen. This will be the first huge domino to fall in transfer portal NIL. You might think it's Bryce Underwood. You might think it's somebody else flipping or decommitting. No, it will be the number one player in the country who has a perfectly fine situation at one school, transferring to go to another school. You see what Miami's doing. You see what they did the other night against Notre Dame. You saw that when they had. You see the NIL money they have. Well, they're going to clear up $4 million when Carson Beck leaves. Who's that going to go to? Jeremiah Smith, who they almost got on signing day 2 years ago, who they were this close to getting, who Jeremiah Smith said he had an edit ready that he was going to commit to Miami, and he slept on it, and he's still thinking about it on signing day, and he chose the Buckeyes. But what if money talks? What if Ohio State doesn't do well this year? What if he hates playing with Julian Sand? What if he's like, oh, well, maybe I team up with a better quarterback at Miami? What if I go home? Watch me right here. Jeremiah Smith, Miami Hurricane, 2026. That's how I end my take of the week. Watch it happen. Now, top 5. This week's top 5 is my top 5 bold predictions heading into this year's NFL season. Let's hop right into it. Omarion Hampton wins Rookie of the Year for the offense, and Mason Graham wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's number 5. I think Mason Graham is going to have a great rookie season. We saw what he did at Michigan. We saw what he can do in the preseason. I think lining him up next to Myles Garrett is a perfect decoy for Myles Garrett. And also, when Mason Graham starts cooking a little bit, you have to go back and guard Myles Garrett. From Omarion Hampton, a running back beast. You saw what North Carolina did the other night without Omarion Hampton. Nothing on offense. You know how Jim Harbaugh likes his running backs. Omarion Hampton and Mason Graham win Rookie of the Year in the NFL. Number 4, Christian McCaffrey wins Offensive Player of the Year, and Myles Garrett wins Defensive Player of the Year. Now, Christian McCaffrey, if he can stay healthy, is one of the best offensive players in the NFL. No doubt about it. And I think they're going to have to feed him all season long. No more Ayuk, no more Deebo Samuel. Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall as your top 2 receivers. If healthy, those 2 guys, Christian McCaffrey is going to get a lot of carries, a lot of receptions. Watch him be Offensive Player of the Year. And for Myles Garrett, I think Myles Garrett is going to have a great year because he's got a new contract now. He's ready. He's good to go. And same for the Mason Graham thing. There's another huge target on that defensive line for teams to cover outside of Myles Garrett. So Mason Graham gets Rookie of the Year, and Myles Garrett gets Defensive Player of the Year. Browns' defensive line is good year. Number 4, McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year. Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year. Number 3, Jaden Daniels wins MVP this season. Year 2, MVP. Yes, Jaden Daniels. Lamar did it in year 2. Jaden Daniels does it in year 2. This guy is such a pure passer. I'm very high on Jaden Daniels. If there was a Jaden Daniels stock, Commander stock, it'd be going through the roof right now because this guy can run. This guy can throw. He's got his number 1 receiver back. He's got good running backs in Bill Krusky, Merritt, and Austin Eckler. He's got a great offensive line. And he has Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn in his corner as his coaches. 3, Jaden Daniels, MVP. Number 2, the Super Bowl will be the Cincinnati Bengals out of the AFC and the Philadelphia Eagles out of the NFC. The Bengals are going to be really good this year, in my opinion. Now, it might not last for a dynasty, but they'll be good because they have Burrow, they have Chase Brown at running back, they're going to have T. Higgins, they're going to have Jamar Chase, they'll have a good enough tight end this season. I think the offensive line got better. Got guys like Dalton Reisner in there, a few other guys I think do well. The defensive line, we just got Trey Hendrickson back, one of the best defense players in the NFL. It's a huge step for them after his holdout to come back. And people hate on their linebackers, hate on their defense. Logan Wilson isn't bad. Daxton Hill at safety is still young. He's still progressing. He's a first-round pick. DJ Turner at corner, he's a first-round pick. He's progressing. They're just going to get better and better this season, the defense. And I think that's why they make the Super Bowl. They've had a Super Bowl offense the past 5 years. The only year they were able to put together was the year they made the Super Bowl, and this year. Bengals win the AFC. And for the Eagles, simple. No teams in the NFC East are going to challenge them outside of the Commanders. I think that's only 1 loss in the division the whole year and 1 game to the Commanders. I think the rest of the NFC can't compete with them. The 2 best teams in the NFC might as well be the Commanders and the Eagles, like how it was last year, but the Eagles get it done and they make the Super Bowl once again. Now, my Super Bowl champion for the 2025-2026 NFL season in San Francisco, hosting the Lombardi Trophy, will be the Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals get it done, and they go out on a high note. Then you might have to trade T. Higgins. Then you might have to trade Trey Hendrickson, trade a few other guys, and figure out your dynasty. But for now, they win the Super Bowl. They are the best team in the NFL. Watch me dance right here. Bengals Super Bowl. I'll be right when we look back on this in February. That's about our Schoolyard Sports top 5 bold predictions in the NFL this season. Now, did you know? This week's Did You Know is, did you know Roger Federer won a tournament or title every year from 2001 to 2019? Every year, for 18 straight years, he won a tournament and a title. Wow, Roger Federer is one of the greatest tennis players of all time, and that stat, not going a season without a championship from 2001 to 2019, just proves my point. What a great career, what a great player. That's about for Did You Know this week. It's tennis time here on Schoolyard Sports. The U.S. Open is fully underway. We're into the quarterfinals, and we're nearing a champion on both sides of the draw. The quarterfinals right now are Felix Auger-Aliassime versus Alex de Minaur of Australia. Both guys who are looking to make their first Grand Slam semifinal. Now, Felix, who at one point was on top of the world, I think he actually may have even made a French Open semifinal back 4 years ago, but that was a long time ago for Felix Auger-Aliassime. He's going against Alex de Minaur, the fastest player. It's going to be a great match. Both guys looking to come back and make a semifinal in the Grand Slam. Novak Djokovic is going up against Taylor Fritz as we speak. Taylor Fritz, the last American standing. What I think for Fritz is he can beat anybody in the world not named Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik Sinner, Novak Djokovic. That closes the book on who's going to win this match. Hopefully I'm wrong by the time this episode comes out. But I saw Novak the other night go up against Jan-Lennart Struff, and he's dominant. I mean, he's the greatest player playing. I mean, actively, I don't think Novak can beat Jannik and beat Carlos Alcaraz in this tournament, but it's insane how his dominance has still gone on to 2025. He's been great every single year. His 2015 season is the greatest of all time, and he's going to go down as the top 3 tennis player of all time. It's going to be a great match, Novak versus Fritz. You obviously know the winners at this point. Sinner versus Musetti, an Italian matchup for the ages. They're ready for it in Italy. Musetti looking to make a Grand Slam final. He's never done it before. He's made a semifinal in the French Open, but he's looking to get over that hump in these next 2 matches over number 1 in the world, Jannik Sinner. And Jiří Lehečka got dominated by Carlos Alcaraz today. Alcaraz hasn't won this tournament since his second time playing it in 2022 when he was just 19 years old, looking for that championship this year, Carlos Alcaraz. And Naomi Osaka on the women's side, who's won this tournament before, won it in 2019, and I think won it back in 2020. She is ready for this moment right here. She beat Coco Gauff the other night. She is ready to get back into the spotlight after winning this tournament before and winning Grand Slams before and having a huge hiatus from being a solid tennis player looking to get back to a Grand Slam final and hopefully win it, her home tournament, after growing up in America, Naomi Osaka. That's about for tennis time in the U.S. Open Spotlight. Nika Iamaleava, the quarterback for UCLA, is not who we're screaming on this week. I'm screaming on college football for what we did to Nico Iamaleava. Now, Nico Iamaleava made his UCLA debut the other night, and they got trounced. They have an unqualified head coach in Deshaun Foster, who I've had on this show. I don't care to say that. He's unqualified to be their head coach, and they're unqualified to even have a Jordan Brand sponsorship on their jersey because they're just not a good football program as we speak. Nico Iamaleava had a good time at Tennessee. Made a bowl game, started in a bowl game, which was his first career start 2 years ago, which was just a glimpse of what Tennessee fans could see. And then the next year, he went out there and he started every game, and he did a good job. He brought them to the college football playoff as a true sophomore, Nico Iamaleava. People like to forget that. People like to think Nico is just such a bad quarterback. Now, did he play bad? Yes. Is there bad coaching at UCLA? Definitely. Is it better at Tennessee? Definitely. Does Nico Iamaleava fit Tennessee perfectly? No. Now, Nico Iamaleava may have not wanted a huge pay raise at Tennessee. Maybe it was just common. Maybe it was just standard for what the going right now is for a college ball quarterback. And Tennessee didn't want to budge because they didn't love Nico at quarterback. Maybe Josh Heupel was like, Nico's fine. We're not going to win a championship with him. Maybe there's a way we could force him out and make him look like the villain. Because that may have been what happened here. Joey Aguilar, who was at UCLA and transferred to Tennessee when this little exchange went on, looked great on Saturday. He looked like he fit in that system perfectly. They beat a Power 5 team, Syracuse, an up-and-coming program, and Aguilar looked like a better quarterback than Nico Amaliava. That's plain and simple. He just did in that SEC quarterback system. Nico's a pro-style quarterback. Maybe he didn't fit well with Heupel. Maybe he and Heupel didn't get along. People like to make Nico the villain in this situation. This may be one where I got it wrong, you got it wrong, we all got it wrong. Maybe it was Tennessee who wanted Nico to get out of there. Now, Nico could have handled things better probably, and he probably could handle things better at UCLA. He probably didn't have to go there, and UCLA doesn't have to have Deshaun Foster as their head coach, because I'm going to say it again, he's unqualified to be a college football Big Ten head coach in today's day and age. There's a lot of things I'm screaming on. I'm screaming on UCLA, Deshaun Foster, Nico a little bit himself, but definitely Tennessee for how they handled this situation with him and the college football world. Because I really believe now, after watching Joey Aguilar, after watching Nico, and after hearing a few things through the grapevine, that it wasn't fully Nico, that Tennessee had a plan to get him out of there too. They had an agenda when it all came down to it at the end of the day. That's about it for my Scream this week on episode 229. The showcase is coming up next. Stay tuned. Now, the top 25 in college football showcase for Schoolyard Sports is here, everybody. You know how we do it. I give you the top 25, then I give you my 6 flaming hot takes, which I was 3 of 6 on last week, and I'm going to go 6 or 6 on this week. But before we do that, top 25 time for 1, Ohio State, 2, LSU, 3, Oregon, 4, Penn State, 5, Miami, 6, Texas, 7, Georgia, 8, Clemson, 9, Florida, 10, Michigan, 11, South Carolina, 12, Oklahoma, 13, Notre Dame, 14, Florida State, 15, Alabama, 16, Tennessee, 17, Ole Miss, 18, Illinois, 19, Arizona State, 20, Duke, 21, Iowa State, 22, SMU, 23, Texas Tech, 24, Texas A&M, 25, Georgia Tech. That's the top 25 in college football for week 2 on Schoolyard Sports. Feel that? Feel that fire burning up in here? If you're an audio listener, you're not seeing it, but there's some fire going on in here on this show right now because we got the scorching, flaming hot takes. These might be the hottest hot takes I've had in a few years, everybody. We're going upset mania, starting off with unranked Duke over number 11 in the AP poll, Illinois. Darian Mensah at quarterback. Great quarterback for Duke. Came over from Tulane, Illinois. Most overhyped team in my generation I've ever seen. Duke over Illinois. Huge win over a top 11 team. Baylor over SMU. SMU made the playoffs last year. Rhett Lashley, Kevin Jennings, they look to repeat what they did in the ACC where they ran through it last year. They're not doing that this year. I like Baylor. I know they lost to Auburn, and I know it's a tough loss, but Sawyer Robertson, David Aranda, they went down swinging in that game, and they upset SMU on the road. Turn on the CW, wherever you live. You'll watch Baylor versus SMU, and watch the Bears take down the Clowns over at SMU. Mississippi State over Arizona State in Starkville, Mississippi. There's a lot of factors that are making me pick this game. One of them being Arizona State not playing well last week. One of them being this game's in Starkville, Mississippi. One of them being this is year 2 of Jeff Lebby. And the main one being, it's a night game in Starkville where the cowbells are running. One of my favorite night game traditions in college football. The NCAA still allows it, where Mississippi State fans have cowbells in the stands and they ring it all night long. Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson won't know what to do. Kenny Dillingham, a great coach for Arizona State, gets rattled going to SEC country, and Mississippi State wins this game. Ole Miss versus Kentucky. Kentucky beat Ole Miss on the road last year. Ole Miss, Austin Simmons, threw 2 picks against Georgia State. Forget all that. Ole Miss wipes out Kentucky. I looked forward to Zach Calzada in Kentucky, but he had 93 yards last week and a few turnovers against Toledo. Makes me want to barf. Ole Miss over Kentucky in dominating fashion. Second to last hot take. South Florida comes close, a one-possession game with Florida. I told you, Florida will be the roller coaster of college football. There are going to be some games where it's like, wow, they beat Texas. Oh, they're close with South Florida. They played great last week. They struggled this week. South Florida got a huge win on Thursday last week over a ranked team in Boise State. Byron Brown, Alex Golish, they're ready to go over to the Swamp and compete with the Gators. Let's go 27-21 Gators over the Bulls of South Florida. And the last one, the game of the week. Big Ten versus SEC. Michigan at Oklahoma. Bryce Underwood versus a Brent Venables defense versus the Norman, Oklahoma crowd in his second career start. Jerome Moore's homecoming, where he played college football, coming back to Oklahoma. Michigan's real test right here. Are they legit, or are they a carbon copy of the 2024 team that lost big games like this early on the season? I think last season for Jerome Moore was a wash. I would say this year is the year he steps up and gets it done. And this year is going to be a big year for him, whether he gets up or he doesn't. And this is the biggest game of the Jerome Moore era. Forget Texas last year, forget Ohio State, forget Alabama, forget Oregon. Oklahoma week 2. So where you prove? Are you ready to hang with the big boys on the road with your kind of team, Jerome Moore? Not a Jim Harbaugh team, your team. For Brent Venables in Oklahoma, it's time. It's go time, Brent. 2022 wasn't a good season for Oklahoma under Brent Venables. 2023, well, they were good, but they struggled, and they finished the season on a poor note, and Jackson Arnold was their starter last game of the year in the bowl game. They lost that bowl game after being, I think, number 4 in the country at one point that season. Last season was a good start, and then Jackson Arnold got benched. Michael Hawkins came in. That didn't go well either. So now you've got John Mateer at quarterback. You've got one of the most explosive players in college football, a Heisman candidate. You've got Jaden Knott, a running back from Cal, who actually didn't play much last week because he was banged up. But that guy's one of the best running backs in the country. You've got a good defense, one of the best Oklahoma has seen this century. It's going to be a good game. And I think what's all said and done, Oklahoma wins this game. Nah. Go Blue! Michigan. Audio listeners, go watch the video part. I just slammed this Michigan helmet on the table. Go Blue! Jerome Moore, Bryce Underwood. They're not going to have to do much in this game because it's going to be all on Michigan running back Justice Haynes. Some things Michigan did last week against New Mexico I didn't like. They played musical chairs with the defense. I think this week they stick to their plan. Jayshon Barham, best player in the defense, out for the first half due to that ridiculous targeting rule. Doesn't matter. Go Blue! Michigan goes down to Norman, Oklahoma, and Jerome Moore sets the tone. Brent Venables doesn't have a win like this going up to a Big Ten or another big-time program and getting a big road win. Jerome Moore will after Saturday night. Norman, Oklahoma on Saturday is going to be amazing blue fest. And that's about for College Ball Showcase. Now, the best for last question of the day. This week's question of the day is, what MLB team makes a September surge to make the playoffs and be a contender for that World Series? Leave your answer in the comments. That's about for question of the day this week. That's about for Schoolyard Sports and Lane Frank, episode 229. Thank you for tuning in. Follow Schoolyard Sports on Instagram at Schoolyard Sports. Follow Schoolyard Sports on X at Schoolyard Sport. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review for the best sports content in the world. We'll be back here next week, episode 230. Stay tuned.